Hello, everyone. So this is my week 4 response to for the Greg Castle video that we watched this week and on the Las Vegas shooting. Kind of my thoughts about it, my talking points. So my first one I had was just kind of like how the chaos really started, and really the police officers really didn't have any idea where shots were coming from. And then they were getting reports all over the place. They were coming from this gate, from the hotel, from this hotel, from the street. I mean, it's kind of the chaos and how these police officers had to really deal with that situation, how they were able to act and prepare these people and help them to get out, even though they had numerous reports of that were sometimes even completely false of where the shots are coming from. The second thing was kind of how with that first engine that was going to be responding with the 18-year Army veteran that was on it, and kind of how he recognized the gunfire, and that kind of reminded me of like how you think of the Naval Yard shooting with the police. They want to secure these scenes before they let fire in and stuff like that. How he actually might have kept his engine out of harm's way because he knew kind of what he was listening for and what the sounds were and how to kind of handle it before. And so they didn't go rushing into the situation and kind of put themselves out there to, and then limiting the resources that engine had if one of them was to get injured there. And the next thing was how just kind of these power of the unified commands that he talked about, and kind of how these resources were allocated, with calls coming in over this like 3.5 square miles. So they had ones at the airport, they had them, I mean, miles and miles away, like calls coming in of active shooters, and how they were able to actively put resources toward each of these locations to make sure that everybody was safe there. But that kind of leads me to my next point, that even before he mentioned kind of how terrorism and like the India attack that he talked about, it's like when you're getting calls like that, it sounds like terrorism, like a coordinated terrorist attack. If you're getting calls all over the place, that's just kind of like one of the key aspects I would think of terrorism, and how you respond to it. But that just kind of shows that command post is able to actively send out those resources, make sure to clear all those spots, and that way they could actually clear them and get those resources back to actively helping people in the situation that was happening. But then for their going into like their response plan, the other thing that came to mind was with the like kind of how they had their family resources and stuff like that. Something that would almost be beneficial to them would be the having like this location like the National Stadium and stuff like that, or Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta, where people can go after the incident to regroup with the group that they're with, their family, their friends, stuff like that. Because I mean, if you're in a crowd of 22,000 people and everybody's running, I imagine it's pretty easy to get separated because you turn your head away 1 second and then your friend's gone and you don't know where they are. So like having a location for everybody to go to and meet, kind of link back up, I think would have been a smart idea to have there. But then it was also good to see that even with these after action reports and like kind of their post incident actions and things like that and stuff they have in place, with the support that they had for their like firefighters, the therapy, the counseling, stuff like that they had available to them, was I think some we haven't heard too much of, but it really makes sense because I mean these kind of incidents can really take a toll on mental health and the people that are responding to them. And then lastly is just having the plan for hospitals. I think it's a great idea. It's something we haven't heard a lot of, but yeah, it's like if you're out there, if your hospital's working and they have 300 people come in with gunshot wounds, like who's going to be prepared to handle that kind of situation on just like a typical Sunday night? So I think having that plan in place for the fire engines to be there to help kind of limit the what the hospital has to do and be able to transport people and things like that, I think is really important. But because you really don't think of the first, or like the hospitals as a first responder, because I mean your EMS is like a first responder, but hospitals kind of get hit with that second wave and you don't really think about them after the fact of like the immediate impact of the incident. But I think it's a really great idea, having that kind of plan in place and be smart to have everywhere. That's it. Thanks.